pleased to bring you our feature presentation.
Yo, 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 and welcome to our show. This is the Scorpion's Tale podcast, coming to you exclusively from comicbooked.com. I am host Scorpio Moon, and hosting with me I have Brad Birchman.
Yo, what's up?
And Zod Ryder.
How's it going?
This week we're going to tell you a tale of a superweb series called Super Knocked Up. Basic premise here: Jessica James, aka Darkstar, a premier supervillainess in this universe, finds herself knocked up by its alpha male womanizing superhero, Captain Amazing. My introduction to this series actually came from a writing assignment for the site. Our editor-in-chief needed a web series and its comic book counterpart reviewed, and when I read that description, I had to jump on it. What I love about Super Knocked Up is that it absolutely delivers what it advertises. It's funny, it's sexy, and I really dig the main character. Darkstar is deliciously bad, and not totally murderous, so she's easy to root for, and she's got an awesome energy power that's surprisingly well portrayed on the show. Why I think it's good is because of how it executes this premise. It doesn't overindulge in any one aspect. It'd be easy for something like this to go way over the top and veer into parody, but there's a genuine story being told here. The cast really sells it and makes it believable, with the assistance of some very high production values. The dramatic aspects are well balanced with the superhero action too. I've seen a lot of independent features simply use superheroes as a punchline or a heavy-handed metaphor, but I'm glad to say that's not the case here. Brad, don't you agree?
Oh, I definitely agree. It was just something that I kind of instantly got into. I mean, I was able to follow the premise very easily. It was very entertaining. You've never really seen a story be told where the villain and the hero hook up, but they hook up and get pregnant. It's just not a very common story, but it was really, really, really entertaining. There's a lot of good, fun, light moments. There's a lot of comedy in it. And it's just something that I try to get anybody to watch. I love it.
Yeah, there are a lot of supervillain romances that are teased in the comic books, but there aren't very many, especially in like a mainline continuity, that get to come to fruition. Now, Zod Ryder, I just showed you this web series recently. Birch and I have both been watching it for a while, but you're kind of the newcomer. Why don't you give me some of your thoughts on it?
Well, having experienced it pretty much all in one shot and watched all 5 episodes, back to back, I will say that what I was most impressed with was the writing of this romance. I think, as you guys both pointed out, it's interesting how you can finally see the romance that's, usually teased in a comic brought to fruition in like a main storyline. And that's absolutely great. And what I loved about it is that the main superhero is such a cocky guy. And you almost find yourself in the beginning of a newcomer like me watching it, you find yourself kind of rooting for her, even though she's the villain. So it's amazing. I can't say enough positive things about it. I'm sure, we'll elaborate a little bit more on it later, but my initial thoughts are that this is some top-notch stuff, and I'm anxious to see more. I don't think anybody that watches this will be disappointed in what they see. And I wouldn't mind reading like a monthly comic book of this either. I think this would work well in comic books.
There is a comic book. There is one comic out already. The comic kind of shows events of the night leading up to the first episode. Because in the first episode, kind of a small spoiler for those who haven't seen it, but in the first episode, it starts off with villain Darkstar or Jessica James waking up in bed with the superhero Mike Masters or Captain Amazing. Kind of leaves the audience wondering, okay, well, how did they get here? It's like, what was going on? And the first comic actually does show you what happened leading up to it.
But the comic the comic kind of led you into the web series, and it also kind of becomes parallel with it as it goes along. And I don't know exactly what the plans are in the future for how they're going to mesh the comic book and the web series. They might continue the idea of using the comic book as the kind of backstory for the web series. And, I know prequel is a dirty word nowadays, but, I'd actually kind of like to see, why is Captain Amazing such a womanizing superhero? Did he have a really bad breakup in his past that, made him, start to treat women in a different way? And, why did Darkstar become a villain instead of using her powers for good. Like, those are kind of things that, I think I would like to see expanded upon in the Super Knocked Up universe.
Well, maybe he just likes women. I mean, that's what that's the impression I get.
And now we're going to take you to an interview that Brad Birchman and I conducted with the creator and director of Super Knocked Up, Jeff Burns, and some of the cast. These are a super fun group of folks. Trust me, this is going to be great. But guys, what we're going to do is we're basically going to jump right into the interview. I generally like to do a pre-interview about a week before any actual interview. We didn't really do that this time because of some time constraints, and I'm just kind of taking it on Jeff's word that, everyone's really awesome here. Like, one of the first things that I would actually do...
I said they were awesome? Did I really say that? Oh, I guess I did.
No, he said Jordan's awesome. He didn't.
Oh, I didn't say Mark's awesome. Fuck that.
Thank you. Now I have nothing to live up to. So thank you, Jeff.
By the way, Scorpio, that was like one of the coolest things I've ever heard about the series. Thank you so much. That's awesome. Can I use your Darkstar is deliciously bad? I want to use that quote on the website. Is that cool?
I like that.
Yeah, by all means, please go ahead. But even though it's kind of my job to, ask people questions, I still just feel kind of weird sometimes, just asking all this stuff and, not having anyone know anything about myself. Like, it just feels too one-sided, so,
Can we ask you questions? Can we ask you personal questions?
Hey, I have a question
But yeah,
for
we
you.
are.
Scorpio Moon.
Alright, go ahead.
What do people call you? What do we call you? Scorpio? Scorpio Moon? Or a first name?
Oh yeah, just the first name is fine, just Scorpio.
Okay, cool. Proceed.
We're not gonna go all formal. You don't have to call me Mr. Moon or anything like that.
Mr. Moon. Mr. Scorpio Moon. Okay.
I'm sorry. What is your? I've always seen this picture of you. Is that like a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle on your hat? What is that hat?
Yeah, what is that?
Yeah, that's a
Raphael?
soft, fuzzy. Yeah, that's Raphael. It's like a winter wool hat.
Awesome.
Nice. Are you wearing it right now?
Would you like me to say yes?
Yes, I would like you to say that. I like to imagine you're always wearing that.
Yeah, that's pretty much my calling card. The hat and the glasses.
Okay, excellent. We can do the interview now then.
Anyway, alright, so, I grew up in Pennsylvania, lived here my whole life, always been a lifelong nerd, like comic books, science fiction, fantasy, video games, like, all that stuff, my entire life, never like an inkling of cool, I was a goth in high school, which didn't help much, and, even when I tried to be, more normalish, life just kind of conspires against me, my first year away in college, one of, my first semesters, I went out to this bar with some people, and I was on the dance floor, and I was dancing with this girl, and she kind of does this little move where she dances up to me, and she takes my glasses off my face and puts them on her face. I guess kind of doing a cute little sexy thing. I'm like, all right, that's cool. So I kind of dance around her, and I take the silver necklace off her neck and put it around me. And now, obviously, there were some adult beverages involved in this bar, obviously, and the night kind of got away from me after that, and I'm sure we danced away from each other. I was like, yeah, I'll see her later or whatever. Anyway, the next morning I wake up and do that, stereotypical, grabbing my face all groggy, I'm like, where are my glasses? And I don't feel them on my face. They're not on my table next to me. I reach over to my neck and, I feel the silver necklace, and I'm just kind of like, damn.
Burning.
Yeah, so now I've got no glasses, and I'm literally, the old expression, blind as a bat. I cannot get around campus or, see the board in class without my glasses. But what I have with me is a pair of prescription sunglasses. Now, I don't have the money to, go out to a doctor and get a new set of glasses made and all this stuff, and I don't really want to call my parents and tell them that I've already got my degree in, partying 101, acting a fool or whatever. So I'm like, alright, I'm just gonna have to wear my prescription sunglasses everywhere I go. So now you have my freshman year in college, I'm just walking around wearing sunglasses out at night in all my classrooms, never taking them off. I must have looked like such a tool to so many people, but, moral of the story being just, even when I try and just, be a normal dude, life just kind of finds a way,
That's a funny story.
That's an awesome story.
I like that, though.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Alright, Brad, did you want to do any little introduction before we move on to our guests?
I don't know if I can top that. Yeah, obviously I'm Brad. I grew up in Alabama, still live in Alabama, and I've been not as big of a nerd or geek as Scorpio apparently, but I mean, I've been into science fiction and fantasy shows since I was a kid. Now I've pretty much transferred over to science fiction and comedy and fantasy web series.
Sweet.
Alright, so let's move on to our guest now. Jordan, you had brought up the how to say names or whatever, so Jordan Gibson, am I saying that right?
You sure are.
I always try and keep my, my podcast as, hospitable for all my guests as possible. I always like to be, very accommodating. So before we start, do you have any kind of, any pet peeves or things that would, really bother you or offend you during an interview? I don't know, people who interrupt you or people who burp on air, I don't know, some little annoying trait or something.
Jordan loves burping on camera, and we love it too. I'm offended that Mark is here, period, so it's already ruined for me.
Yeah, that's pretty much, how it goes. I come on, Jeff gets offended, he gets mad, storms off the, and I don't know if you guys have heard any other interviews that we do, but,
Yeah, I was gonna say, you're usually sitting next to him on the bed. So I don't see how he's offended. That's why he's offended. You're not there with him.
right.
I know, Mark, I'm very jealous.
Not in the same seat as he is, he gets upset, and we have a fight, and, it's terrible.
So Jordan, any pet peeves, people who talk in movie theaters, anything?
Oh, you mean just pet peeves in life?
Yeah, just in life and people, whatever.
Oh man, I'm sure I have a ton of pet peeves in life, but I can't really think of any off the top of my head right now. I don't like mean people, but nothing in podcasts. Everything's cool.
Alright, so you don't like mean people. I'm sure any mean people listening are going to stop now, but now we need to get some listeners back, so, any habit that you like in people?
Me?
Yeah, like a trait that you like to see in people, something you think is interesting or cool.
Yes, I love, you know how you can just tell when someone has a really good heart, just a genuinely good person? I love that so much. The place I'm working right now, everyone there seems to be that way, just genuinely really nice. And when they say, how are you doing? They really mean it and they want to know. It's cool. I like that. Genuine, I guess. That's my favorite trait in people.
Alright, now see, if we had a little more time to, all get familiar and do this whole thing earlier, I would have worked those questions later into the show as something I would have pulled a Captain Amazing and done so, turn-ons, turn-offs, huh, Jordan? Something like that, but anyway, so now we also have Mark Pizzula on the line. Yes. Did I say that right?
Absolutely, yes. Very good.
Alright, good. It's a pleasure to meet you, or, I hope so, anyway. We'll see how it goes. I read on the site...
Thank you. No, thank you for having us. By the way, this is nice. Thank you.
No problemo, man. That's all. Have fun. This is going to be very mutually beneficial, I think.
Absolutely.
But, I read on the site, through the Q&As that you were a fan of Breaking Bad. I was actually going to reference that later. So are you all caught up? I don't want to spoil it for you or anything.
I am, yes, I'm absolutely caught up. This is actually the first season I've been able to watch, on a show-by-show basis. Before I was catching up through Netflix. But I finally have cable again, so I've been watching it, this whole season, or at least through, the half season that just ended. Yes, all caught up.
So it's kind of appointment TV for you again?
Yes, absolutely. It's one of the shows that I absolutely could not miss while it was on.
Is anyone else worried about Breaking Bad spoilers? Just throwing it out there now. I'll take that as a no.
All right.
Josh, do you watch it?
No, I'm going to be very much in the minority and say I have absolutely no interest in watching Breaking Bad.
Yeah, I have to.
I don't care. You can spoil as much as you want.
So bad. I know everyone I know is obsessed with it, but I saw one episode and first of all, I'm just depressed. I'm also creeped out and I feel like I need to take a shower. But it wasn't in a cool way, Some shows you can feel creeped out, depressed and need to take a shower, but it's in a good way. This is just I didn't like it. People are going to be so mad at me, but.
I know, that's right.
They'll live.
Send their hate mail to us, and they're going to love them.
Yeah, send it to Mark Pizzula at...
Man.
I got his email.
Well, I guess that puts me in the minority. I have not seen it, have not watched it, and I keep hearing enough about it that I'm probably going to be forced to at some point, so I have to kind of come back and let people know.
Don't cave into peer pressure.
Yeah.
You don't have to watch it. You don't have to be depressed.
I think, the first season, if you're not into it by maybe episode 3, I think, then you're just not, I don't think you'll fall in with it. I mean, each season is different. It just gets darker and darker and more depressing. So if you find the first couple of episodes depressing, you're definitely not going to want to stick with it. But I think it's a worthwhile show to stick with, because when it does hit, it fires on all cylinders, and it's amazingly written and produced and acted. But yeah, I mean, it can be tough to get into if you only see like a bit of an episode or in the middle of a season. But I think if you start from episode 1, you'll be hooked.
Yeah, well said, man. Well said. I think to their credit, it is hard to jump into that show somewhere in the middle, because you'd be like, wait, who is this guy? Why should I like this terrible person at all? Like,
yeah,
I can see how that wouldn't work.
Well, Walter White is not really a sympathetic character, even from the beginning, but he's so fascinating that it's hard not to like him in some way. And it's interesting because my fiance just started watching it with me this season, and this season Walter White is just completely not sympathetic at all. Like, he's a villain. And I'm like, how is my fiance watching this show with me and like even wanting to watch it week to week? But for some reason she just like wants to watch this guy. And maybe it's the performance by Bryan Cranston, but somehow she's like, oh, I want to see it again. I want to watch it.
Yeah, it's fun. I have lots of girlfriends, too, who feel the same way, who are like, oh, I don't want to watch it, and then they started, and now they love it. So funny. Yeah. So, I don't know. We'll see.
Alright, so we're gonna come back to that a little bit later, but okay. Moving on now, Jeff, it's good to talk to you again. Thanks for coming along to keep all your minions in line.
Thank you for having me, man. I had a blast with you guys last time.
And I think this one is off to a pretty good start. Now, was there anything that you wanted to add to my description of the show from the beginning of the podcast?
Things I've ever heard described about Super Knocked Up, and so I don't think I could even do it any better than you did. It was awesome. Thank you.
Alright, cool. So let's not ignore the elephant in the room here. And yes, I do mean that completely metaphorically. I'm not calling anyone an elephant, but now going into, and especially not you, Jordan.
Just kidding.
But going into season 2, the lead actress is changing, which is kind of a big deal. Jeff, on the first announcement you made about it, you had the pretty PC response of Natalie moving on to other things. But for the sake of just interviewing, I have to ask. Is there a little dirt there? Is there any controversy? Like, what exactly happened?
Oh man, look at you with the research. Just kidding. Well, okay, so what really happened, you guys are gonna get the scoop, is that Jordan killed her. Just kidding.
Oh my god.
Oh shit, I wasn't supposed to tell anybody. Never mind, that didn't happen. No, not at all. I'm just kidding. So, there really wasn't anything. I don't really have any good dirt or stories to tell you. Natalie was absolutely fantastic. Mark will tell you that too, and he had a great time working off of her. And she did a fabulous job in season 1. And, for season 2, it just became a matter that she came to me, and she wanted to be paid for season 2. And that's just, and I would love to do that, and I would love to pay every single person on the cast. But that's the way I approach things. And this is an important thing to me. I either pay no one or I pay everyone. And I'm not going to just pay the lead actors and not pay anybody else. I think that's disrespectful from my perspective, as who I am as a person. So I absolutely understood her request. I would love to pay everybody, but we just were not in a spot to be able to do that for this season. We're working to getting there. But we're not there yet. We're still growing. So, I explained that and she understood. I understood where she was coming from. She understood my point too. I'm totally honest. We left things very, very well between her and I. She even, the day I announced Jordan's casting, Natalie even sent me a text saying, hey, awesome, congratulations. Let me know if I can ever help you guys out, which I thought was very sweet of her and nice. So, everything was left very well with her. It was just one of those situations where just from a business aspect, it didn't turn out, which of course, at the time seems like obviously a big bummer. You have to recast, but I can't tell you about how it's turned into such an amazing positive with Jordan. Cause she's just absolutely amazing. She's a phenomenal actress. She's a phenomenal person outside of that too, but she's a phenomenal actress and she believes so much in this project. She's going above and beyond in terms of what she's doing, even beyond acting on the producing and other aspects of stuff. And just all the rehearsals we've been doing and with Mark and her and and stuff is just, it's awesome. She's so getting the role. She's bringing her own take to Dark Star, and her and Mark are working great. So I'm so excited to have Jordan, as part of season 2. And I'm a little excited that Mark's back.
A little? That's more than I usually get. I gotta admit.
You're moving up, Mark. You're moving up.
Yes.
Alright guys, thanks for that. I'm not really like a big gossip hound or whatever, but it's kind of one of those things where, I mean, if you don't ask the question, people are like, dude, like, why didn't you ask that? I prefer just to focus on the fun going into the future. And speaking of which, Jordan, congrats on getting the part.
Thank you.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah.
Thank you so much. I am beyond stoked about it.
Alright, so can you give us some behind the scenes on this? I mean, how do you find a web series casting call? Like, how's your audition process go?
She was mainly looking for porn roles, but and that's how she came across Super Knocked Up, because it looks like porn.
Hilarious. And then there's this other way that I found it called Actors Access. It's just a resource for actors and for casting directors to put up their projects. And I submitted for it a long time ago. It's so long ago that when he emailed me, I was like, this sounds familiar, but I must have heard about it from something else, because it was so long ago that I had submitted. And then Jeff watched some of a web series I shot previously called Cell, the web series, and he emailed me and asked me to submit an audition tape. And the rest is history.
I hear you beat out quite a lot of competition for that role, too.
She did so she wants to be modest, which is good. She beat over, we had over 700, actresses submit for that one role, actually, which is amazing. And, amazingly hard to go through all that, which is why it took me so long to get back.
Yeah, congratulations on getting through all that.
Oh, thank you. And yeah, so it was, that just shows you how, amazing and awesome Jordan is, that all those actors, which we really had some really good submissions, that, she was clearly, and Mark agreed with this when he saw the ones I sent him, that she was clearly not, by the best for Jessica.
Now, whose idea was Super Geordie, or the Super Geordie videos? For anyone, listening who doesn't know, once they announced the new lead actress, like, you really hit the ground running as far as, like, introducing yourself to the Super Knocked Up family and the fans, and you've been doing kind of like a web series of YouTube videos, just kind of, like, talking about yourself and random things like Buffy and rats and getting to know people. So, how'd that come about? Whose idea was that?
Buffy and rats. That's a good combination.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. It's always tough when, you have a new, obviously, lead actress, in terms of from the fan perspective and getting them on board. I knew from the first time I saw her audition and talked to Jordy on Skype that, she was going to be amazing. And I know that that was going to happen, but I had to make sure the fans know this and we get them behind her. And Jordan, Mark, and we talked about this a lot. And it's something, it was very, very important. It's something we put a lot of thought and planning into. Because if you don't, I think it could have blown up in our faces. I don't think it is, because I think we've done all the right things and made the right moves. So yeah, just seeing her, Jordy's audition tape and how, and you can watch it on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/SKU webseries. She was just she had a great personality. She was super funny. She was adorable. I realized if she did these kind of videos, people would fall in love with her, because I don't know how you don't fall in love with Jordan if you watch these. So I asked her if she would do it, because I thought it would be awesome and just really get people behind her, and really excited to see her in the role. And she's been awesome that she actually, because it takes a lot of time actually to do these and edit them and everything. And she's been great about doing them. And so Jordy, sorry, you can add anything to that you want.
Yeah, I thought that was a great idea. I had considered it before I did Cell, the web series. The director wanted me to do that, and we ended up getting so busy with shooting and with everything that we were so involved with there that it never really happened. So it's nice that the first video blogs I've done have been for Super Knocked Up, and everyone's been so nice about it. And I think it eases my nerves too, coming into a show, at least when, the first episode in season 2 airs, it won't be the first time for all of the fans to meet me. So at least they're kind of getting adjusted to the idea somewhat of, Jessica James looking a little different this year.
I'm not gonna lie, I've gotten so used to the idea of you as Darkstar, like, through, like, all this, outreach that you've done, that sometimes I forget that you haven't actually shot a scene for the series yet. As Darkstar,
right?
That's awesome to hear. That's exactly what we're trying to do, so fantastic.
So yeah, it's been good to introduce me to the fans, but it's also, introduced the fans to me, and it's made me like the show even more than I already did, and to get even more excited about it, because everyone's so cool that supports the show, so serves its multi-purpose.
Alright, now Mark, there's something I've wanted to ask you, since I started watching this series.
Sure.
Was Captain Amazing based on you in real life in any way at all? Because, and I mean this honestly, you just play that way too naturally.
I agree.
I'll be honest, absolutely not. Jeff wrote the whole story and screenplay for the show, not before he met me, but like before he even considered me for the role. Reading about Captain Amazing and playing him, what I like to do in real life is just act overly confident and act like I'm all that. A lot of people think, and my fiance gets so sick of this, I just act like, oh, I'm amazing and I'm awesome. But it really is just an act, because I like to, in reality, I'm completely, I lack self-confidence, and I'm just not, I don't have self-esteem, and that's completely, absolutely true. And so what I do is. Yeah, it's true. And Jeff
we had to work on that in season 1, actually, even just with Mark accepting the role.
Right. Yeah, we did, absolutely. So I just took that, what I do in real life, and I just applied it to Captain Amazing, but Captain Amazing really thinks he is all that. So it wasn't based on me, but I utilized, I guess my defense, real life defense, in order to play that character, I guess is the way to say it. So and in all the behind the scenes stuff and some interviews and stuff like that, you'll see me kind of play up that whole thing, but it really is all just an act. So.
Wow, that was a really cool answer. I love that. And it is totally working on screen. I mean, like, Captain Amazing is just so constantly pleased with himself. And I mean, like, even in your Q&A on the site, I mean, your answers for everything were just so incredibly snarky that I wondered if you were answering them in character as Captain Amazing and, like, forgot. Like, oh wait, no, they're asking these for Mark, the actor.
Yeah. No. So the time, if it's a really silly, snarky answer, it's me purposely doing that. It's not my general persona. It's me playing up that side.
Dude, he's so snarky on set, it's ridiculous.
Sometimes it does get confusing for people. People will be like, wow, you're like that. You're really just full of yourself. And I have to think, no, I'm really not. Like, I'm really not. Like, I swear to you, I'm not. I'm totally just the opposite. But it's just a persona.
My next question I'm going to move into, brings us back to why I brought up Breaking Bad. What I wanted to ask you is, what it's like as an actor who plays someone who's a superhero, watching a show that's basically about the villain.
Yeah, that's, you mean, watching, Super Knocked Up?
No, actually, Super Knocked Up is about a villain too. I mean, I guess because Darkstar is the main character, but
yeah,
just as an actor who plays a superhero, and then you're watching a show, Breaking Bad, that's kind of about a super villain.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. It's I've always been of the mind that it doesn't matter what a character is, whether he's really terrible, really awful, or super good, as long as that character is interesting. And it doesn't have to just be he, obviously. It's a he or she. As long as that character is interestingly written and has many dimensions and angles and is three-dimensional, I'm going to follow that character no matter what. And Breaking Bad's a perfect example of that. Walter White is a villain. He can be despicable, but he's so fascinating to watch because he's so well written and so well played. So I'm just going to follow him to the ends of the earth. I mean, some of my favorite films have really terrible characters, but I adore not what they do, but how they're portrayed and how they're written. So yeah, I don't know if that answers your question, but that's where I was going with
Well,
that.
I mean, like, do you ever, like, just sit there and think, man, I wish I could just Captain Amazing this guy in the face, like when he's doing some real Heisenberg shit?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Sure, yeah. Yes, when he's doing his most despicable stuff, I wish I could just, knock that meth lab in that RV right off the road. Sure, yeah, absolutely.
I like how.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was going for.
I like how you used Captain Amazing as a verb. That was awesome. I'm going to Captain Amazing this guy.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I'm not sure where that one came from. It just kind of made sense at the time.
Sure. Yeah.
All right, so anyway, Jeff, I want you to tell me a bit about your vision for Super Knocked Up. I mean, as a creator or as a creative person, you've got to have like a lot going on in your head all the time, multiple works and projects. So, like, why Super Knocked Up? Why first? Why?
Cause it's awesome. Why Super Knocked Up? I've always, like you guys, certainly, Scorpio and Brad and Jordan actually, she's been big into, sci-fi and stuff since you were young, right, Jordy, too?
Yep.
Yeah. So, I've always been into this kind of stuff and I've always loved superheroes and who doesn't want to, always like wishing I could be Spider-Man, and have those powers or something in real life. How awesome would that be? So, I think it's certainly always been my love of that kind of genre stuff, geek type stuff, and heroes and stuff that motivated it. And I'm sure I told you guys last time, I wrote it as a feature screenplay and it came from a course I was taking through Screenwriting U and that's where I first got the idea, but it was trying to come up with, some kind of superhero-ish or idea that was different and unique, and this is just one day my crazy brain came up with this one and I couldn't really think of it having been done before, and so I was like, and why hasn't it been done? It's an awesome idea. It's great. It's funny. It's an awesome conflict. There's so much you can do with it. And, so I think it was my love of this kind of genre stuff, and just taking that course at the right time, and learning all those awesome things we learned in the course, which so improved my writing ability. And it's kind of, nothing's improved my ability as a writer than that course did. So, I think it was just the right course at the right time and combined with my love of the superhero genre.
All right, now I wanted to use that as kind of our segue into talking about the Indiegogo, which we haven't brought up yet. Indiegogo, I guess, is kind of like Kickstarter. It's a crowdsourcing kind of thing.
Crowdfunding, yep.
Or actually, Jeff, you're the one who runs the Indiegogo. Could you tell me a bit about the whole Indiegogo thing? What's up with that?
Sure. I do not run the entire Indiegogo company, but I wish I did. But I do maintain our campaign, sure. Yeah, no, you're totally right. Indiegogo is just like Kickstarter. Those are like the two biggest crowdfunding sites where, if anybody out there listening is not aware, there are places where, independent people, pretty much anyone can put so a lot of filmmakers use it. They put their projects online, but it could be anything. Musicians use it. People, I don't know, making some kind of widget or whatever. Anybody can put their thing out that they're doing, and you basically, you say, we're looking to raise this kind of money, to do, in our case, to do season 2. That, we're trying to raise $6,000 to do season 2 and make it super awesome. And, and anybody who's interested can just go to our page and donate any amount they want. And which is awesome that, anybody who's supportive of us, supporting indie filmmaking, can help us out. And they have what are called perks, which is depending on what level you donate, you can, you get some cool stuff. Like the, signed thing of the comic book. You get to actually, record your own commentary track for season 2. Jordan and Mark can record a voicemail greeting for your phone. Like Mark will do in his super sexy phone sex voice he's doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
Wait a minute. Do we get a choice on which one of them records it for us?
Well, Brad, you have to use Mark, but everybody else has a choice.
Oh.
Hey, Brad.
So anyway, the site is indiegogo.com/superknockedup, or you just go to superknockedup.com. It's right on our homepage, a link to it. And if people, can go there and again, any amount, like, $5, $10, whatever you can do is a huge help to us, and we would so appreciate it. And also, we did a bunch of special videos for it. We have our intro video that's right there, but also there's like 4, I just did a new one today. There's 4 extra videos we put up there, and we're going to do we've been releasing 2 each week pretty much. So you can see us, the cast and crew, kind of having fun, goofing around, videos that are just up on the Indiegogo page. So that's some fun stuff too. So it really is a great resource for independent people like us who don't really have any money and are working our butts off, trying to do what we love.
I have to admit, I was a little uneasy, a little unsure about the whole, the Kickstarter and the crowdfunding at first when I kind of, first heard about it. It just kind of seemed like another way for people to ask for money was kind of the impression. Like, I get it, everyone has, their dreams and everyone has their different, things that they believe in. But yeah, I just wasn't really sure about it. Especially writing in the entertainment industry, I was hearing about, 20 new Kickstarters a day. So everyone's got their thing. But it's definitely something I've come around to, it's really not invasive. It's not like anyone is, calling your home or knocking on your door. It's not a pop-up ad or a redirect on a website, it's just it's something that goes out there, and, I really do like how it's a cool way just to kind of, share in something, and, of course, the perks are just a fun way to kind of be involved. What really, got me though, what converted me, is I'd interviewed, legendary comic book inker Mark McKenna for Scorpion's Tail Radio a while back, and, I found out, even, legendary Inkwell-winning artists like Mark McKenna, can't just, snap their fingers and, get projects approved and make the dreams come true. So, he had a couple different projects, a project or two that he was working on, trying to get funded for, and he had started up a Kickstarter. And, he told me the story about, how it all went and how he got accustomed to it or used to it, because I think some of that was kind of new to him, and, how he kind of, had just finally, I think, cracked his funding on kind of, the last day of, his Kickstarter campaign or whatever. But, just talking to this guy and, hearing just, how thankful, how touched he was by, each and every single contribution that he got, and, how it really did make, everyone who contributed to it, really did make them, a part of that project. I was just amazed at the level of emotion that he had.
No, that's absolutely true. We are nothing without our fans, and the people. The people donating obviously is ridiculously generous and amazing, but also, every single person who has watched season 1 and hopefully will continue to watch season 2. Without that happening, we really have nothing. So I absolutely agree with that. All of us, we cannot express our gratitude enough for everybody who's both, donated or will donate in the next 2 weeks. Our campaign's running, or who's watched the show or will continue to support us. It's amazing. And,
just to kind of wrap that all up, it is also really great just in general to see, the independent creative spirit that, drives web content, have that source for it. That's about going to wrap up most of what I really want to talk about. A couple more random things. Jeff, if you don't mind, could you give us a spoiler for season 2? Something else we can have unique for this podcast. Maybe something about the relationship between Darkstar and Captain Amazing, or we'll choose her superpower in a cool new way. Something along those lines.
Mark will be totally naked in this season. Just kidding. Sorry. Everybody's gonna stop watching then.
You want people to watch the show, Jeff.
Sure. I don't know, guys. Help me out. Let's see. What can we reveal without? I don't want to give anything, too much away.
Just say something. I don't know what you want to reveal or not.
It can be really vague. It doesn't have to be this will happen in season 2. Just look out for something along these lines.
You'll see more of Captain Amazing's powers in this season. You didn't really even see him do that much last season. But
you'll see actually a lot
right.
more powers in general. That's a good point,
right,
Mark.
yeah, powers in general, and
you
you'll
get
see
to
a lot more superheroes and supervillains.
Yeah, you get to meet the rest of the heroes, the other villains, so you're going to see more powers in general, which is really cool. And but keeping in mind that we're always going to keep our focus on Jessica and Michael and their relationship. That's very important. And you'll see a lot more with that too, with their relationship, because now they're actually living together, and the baby arrives, which is a big thing in season 2. And, obviously that really complicates things. How are they going to make this work? I'll also say, which I'm very excited about, there's a lot more comedy in season 2. There is. It's really, there's some really funny stuff. And Jordan in particular is going to do some awesome, really very funny things. So Jordy, anything you want to?
That was awesome. I think you did a great job without giving too much away. I don't want to add to it, but yes, I will agree that you get to see some fun superpower scenes, and you get more into the heart of the matter with Jessica and just her personal life, and Mark and just how he is as a person and as a superhero. Michael, sorry.
Oh, wow.
Superhero.
I really am that good.
See, that's how highlights.
Nice.
Yeah, I think it has more humor and it has more heart.
Definitely. And
All right, I like it.
And I will just add that, if people like season 2, I think they'll absolutely love season 1. Sorry. They'll absolutely love season 2 because, we're taking everything up a huge amount in season 2. Like we're really, this is much, much more ambitious season. And, so there's just a lot more cool stuff. And I think people are going to be really impressed with what we do.
All right, awesome. I like it. Now this one might not make the podcast because comic book is a little more like all accessible than my dirty little radio show was. But for Jordan and Mark, what do you think Darkstar and Captain Amazing, your characters, what do you think their favorite sexual positions are?
Man.
Well,
I think
I'd say Darkstar is something that she's in charge of.
Oh, well, I think Captain Amazing likes to dominate.
Well, then I think it could get pretty interesting.
But
Spicy in the bedroom.
I think there's a lot of flipping and flopping going on there. A lot of powers being used to get on top.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Playing a little dirty.
Yep.
So we know from the first season that basically their fighting led to sex. Is that how it starts off from now on? They get in a fight, they have sex, get in a fight, have sex, get in a fight.
That would be very like real life, right, with people?
Yeah, isn't that how it works?
With superpowers.
Yeah.
Right.
Superpowers.
All right, guys. I think that's about gonna wrap it up. Brad, did you want to throw in any final questions and lead us out?
Yeah, I just got a couple. One for, I think I'll ask Mark. Do you have any scenes coming up this time where you're going to be force-fed again?
There's none in the scripts that Jeff sent me, but, he could always add something in. So don't give him any ideas.
Mark, what do you hate eating?
What do I hate eating? Well, it's cool if I hate eating it because I already hate eating it and I'll never want to eat it.
Yeah.
So I don't like meatloaf. So go ahead.
I hate meatloaf too. Never mind. I'll never bring meatloaf on the set. I don't want to look at it.
Thank God. I won that one. All right.
There's the whole group of them are going to eat some pizza, but that's a very small amount. That's not anything crazy. So that's about it. I think that's the only food really. We don't go crazy with the food this time.
So you're going to make sure you don't have to shoot 10 or 12 or 14 shots in a row.
Yeah.
Okay. So which was worse? I know on the pancake scene, I think it was in episode 2. I know you had to eat a bunch of pancakes, which is why I asked that.
Yeah.
But I heard a little story about something. You did a little short called Kazula.
Yep. Yeah.
So
Yes,
what's the story about? What's the story about you walking around with your exposed?
Oh yeah. And, wow, how'd you hear about that? That's
I wonder
crazy.
where he got that story from.
Oh, he couldn't have been from anybody that's on the show right now, could it? In a shot a
Jeff
movie
told me nothing.
shot a movie for my friend Jay called obviously Kazula, and one scene called for me in my pajamas. I did not have any pajamas. All I had was boxers, and the boxers, boxers have a little hole in it, have a little slice down the middle. For easy access to urinate, for urination. And, I was too afraid of little Captain Amazing flipping and flopping out of there, so, we had to tape that sucker up, tape the hole closed. That's that story.
A couple of times we almost got a glimpse. It was very scary.
Yes. Yeah. It was a horrifying movie and a horrifying event. So.
Wait. Well, it's a horror movie, he means. The movie's very good. It's not a horrible movie.
No, that's what I'm saying. A horrifying movie, the movie's horrifying. Ugh. It's scary.
Yeah, it's a scary movie. It's gotta be, if it's not scary, then it's not a good movie, so.
Right. But it's not scary because you see the beast. It's scary for other reasons. Whew, getting hot here.
Yeah. Well, since I asked Mark something, Jordan, do you have any embarrassing stories from anything you shot or anything you maybe sell or anything?
Well, there were tons on sale. So many, I should have written them all down. We were together for a month, almost 4 weeks, every day, shooting in this dark, dirty old Family Dollar store that was torn down, or it was completely evacuated on the inside. Gosh, I don't even know. Well, I guess there were lots of similar situations, really, because I was wearing this little dress in the whole show, and we just got real close and personal. We had the girl designated every day to make sure to watch the monitor and make sure everything was modest, and yeah. It was an interesting shoot, I guess, in the wardrobe department. Me and the guy who played opposite me, Danny, he had this outfit that had its own many issues having to do with guy stuff. So it was pretty entertaining and pretty nerve-wracking every day on set for us to kind of figure out how to, run around and do all these crazy things in these outfits. It was funny.
While you're here, would you like to say anything about Cell doing a season 2? Or, we know about Super Knocked Up. We're keeping fans informed of that. But, so what's upcoming on Cell? What's next for that?
Well, the creator, director of Cell, writer as well, he, is focusing right now on a series called Weird Girls. And, it's very, very cool. It has its website, and, that one has quite a bit of traction. Right now they have a blog, and, it's so cute. I feel like it could be a really successful series. He's focusing on that right now and trying to raise, funds and get a good financial basis from that so he can make season 2. It's already written and ready to go. And so, we all want to go back and film season 2 in Texas sometime, but it could be a while. It could be a while. It's ready to go. We get the fun.
Well, we'll keep an eye out for it.
Cool.
By the way, since Jordy was just talking about wardrobe, that's something we've been discussing recently on Super Knocked Up. So another thing people can look out for is a new Dark Star costume and some new stuff for Mark too. Mark, you don't even know about this.
All right.
That's cool.
All right.
Yeah. And tons of obviously new costumes for all the new characters as well, the heroes and villains. So a lot of superhero and villain costumes in season 2.
Yeah, they're gonna be
nice. Nice. So you're gonna are you thinking about getting skimpier with him or something?
It's actually
mine, right, Jeff?
Oh yeah, well yes, definitely with Mark's. Really skimpy with Mark's, of course.
Gotta make the fans happy,
We're gonna need some tape. We're gonna need some tape and
I say I've talked to you enough, Jeff. I can kind of see the just evilness going in your mind right now. Thinking about.
It's actually it's interesting that Jordy, Carly, our costume designer, and I have been talking this past week or two about it, about how we are trying to make Darkstar as a little sexier, but still maintaining her, her toughness to her. And that was very important to me. I need to keep true to the character, but we're trying to, still make it a cooler costume, one that people can identify with more, make it look more like a super villainous costume. So, to keep, sexy, but still tough and cool.
Nice. Like I said, looking forward to seeing that too. The last question I have is going to be kind of an off the wall question. It's for all three of you. There's actually a story from the 1920s. Ernest Hemingway took a bet that he could write a story in just 6 words. And
how many words?
6. He said he could write a complete story in 6 words. Yeah, he conveyed an entire story in just those 6 words. Can you kind of sum up either your life or the show? Can you sum up in just 6 words?
Let's see, Super Knocked Up or my life? Oh man, that's tough. In 6 words, I'd say Super Knocked Up. One fun night, one super problem. Yeah, that's it. That's
nice.
Yeah.
That was really good.
Nice job, man. Wow.
That might have to be the new tagline for it.
Yeah,
yeah,
take that.
let me write that down. What was that again, Mark?
Well, now I can't remember what it was.
One fun
night, one super problem. Take that, Hemingway. You hack.
I think Mark's owning Ernest Hemingway. Jordan?
I don't know.
All right, I got another one. Just some more. Making films is the best ever. That's kind of capitalizes what I'm most passionate about and doing, which is why I love doing Super Knocked Up.
Oh, that's good.
Well said.
Okay. I don't know. All right, 6 words, and it doesn't have to be a sentence. It can just be 6 words that kind of run together.
Well, it's just 6 words that convey the entire story.
Oh, the story or me? Oh man.
No, they can convey you.
Okay. Yeah. Love. like acting. Love film. Love family. That was terrible, but those are the things I love.
Oh, that was good.
Thanks.
Yeah, I think that's exactly the kind of answer for why they write those questions. All right, I think we're done here now. Then
here on season 2.
Oh
great,
God,
great! I just gave Jeff an idea. Oh great.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Don't worry about the plugs. I'm going to make all the essential links for all your various projects and the fundraiser available on the article accompanying the podcast. So that will be taken care of. I want to thank you all for joining us tonight. It was definitely a kick-ass interview. I want to thank everyone for listening, and be looking out for the next edition of the Scorpion's Tale podcast coming out soon.